So today I built a piece of concept art by an artist called Tobias Quintella, and it is a illustration of a Byzantine church. And lately I've been building a lot of concept art in Minecraft because um, I just think it's fun, and I think it's a really fun challenge to try and recreate things that you might not think you could in Minecraft. Like in this build, there's a lot of arches that I think I did a very good job on, making them look very round, and I was really trying to make it not look like a Minecraft build and more a piece of concept art in and of itself, because when I do build in Minecraft, I do consider it art. I think it's a way to express your creativity, and I think if it's expressing your creativity, then it is a form of art. So I started with the main building, which is obviously the focus point of the illustration. And at first I tried to use walls to get the inset, but I just couldn't add the details to that I wanted to, so I do go back in later and change it. I'm using a texture pack called Ashen, which is a medieval fantasy sort of texture pack. So the end stone bricks that I'm using are a lot more subdued and closer to the color in the illustration. So I had a lot of fun with the dome. I built it in a way I usually don't. I'm not sure how to describe that though, but I'm quite proud of that. I think the main building in the end is the section of the build that's closest to the original piece. So I went around the base with some shelves because I didn't really like the overall shape. Sorry. And I do think it looked a lot better after that. I do really like the shelves because they're quite close to vertical slabs, which I do wish they'd had. So this is where I'm realizing that I can't really do much with the walls, but for some reason I went back in with the walls again. I really couldn't tell you why, but I do replace them soon enough. The side building here is probably the least accurate because I really just couldn't get the arches down. Because the proportion and the scale is quite off, to be honest. But I think you can tell that it's supposed to represent the original piece, so it's okay. So this building here, I think I did a very good job with the windows and the arches. I think it's maybe the second most accurate part of the build. So this is where I change the walls to full blocks and I go back in. And I think this is when the build really starts to take shape. You can see I'm messing about with different ways to create the inset, but I do give up and just go back to a very boring way of doing it, which was breaking the blocks and filling them in. So there's the arch design I use. It is just stairs at the moment, but I went back in with trapdoors and shelves, and I think I made them look very round. The windows on the dome were a bit tricky, on the foundation below the dome rather, because I couldn't really figure out a good way to add them in the corner. So here you can see me struggling with the arches on the side building that I told you about. I could not make them accurate for the life in me. So here I was just trying to go around and replicate the windows that I could see in the concept art, but I did have to take quite a lot of liberty because again the proportion and scale was quite off in this build, and I definitely could have done better. I'd actually forgotten the extension on the main building coming out on the front right up until the very end of the build. I just kept overlooking it. I'm not sure how I did that, but this was also my first time using World Edit in a build, so you can see me struggling with it a lot, trying to copy and paste things, and it did take me a while to figure that out, but I got there eventually. This far side building was fun because I've never built something with that kind of shape before, where it goes up and then in, up and then in again, and the windows were quite fun to build on that one, as well as the arches. The tower too was quite fun. I did struggle with the roof a bit, trying to get it the right shape, but I think what I landed on eventually was quite nice. And this tower here was also something that I'd forgotten right until the very end. And here's where I finally noticed the front building, the entrance. And I finally get around to building it, and I really don't know how I didn't notice it before that. I did start kind of giving up here, especially on the entrance. I could have done a way better job. But I went in with these pale oak shells to add accents to the corners because I thought it looked a bit flat and boring. So the last step for me was building these crosses, which I did struggle with, but I ended up just using iron bars and lightning rods. And then I went in with some walls. They're actually behind the roof, but I feel like it does a pretty good job of using perspective to my advantage. And I decided I wanted to use black glass because with the Ashen texture pack, it has this very nice grid pattern that you can't really see in the video because it's quite grainy. But yeah, I'm just going around adding the last touches. I thought it looked very empty beneath the roof, so I went and added these supports with nether brick walls and fences. And yeah, that's the build done.